Welcome to the legend of ItsBlack. Justin Wright, or ItsBlack as he's better known all over the internet, is a close friend of mine. He's probably my favorite follow in all of social media. He gives us an inside look into what it's like to be a UPS driver. Watch his journey from car photographer to YouTuber to sim racing driver. It's an interesting story. It's probably one of my favorites. Definitely stick around and watch the whole episode. Also, if you want to discuss after the fact, check out the Discord. The link is in the description below. As always, I appreciate you always. Let's do this. How are you, bro?
Doing good. I'm tired, but I mean, that's just
Part of the grind.
Yeah, that's part of the grind. Last night, 11 o'clock at night, we went to go pick up a car. Sam bought another car.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's, I guess I can spoil it here. I'm definitely gonna do a vlog today about it, but it's an X5 diesel.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're pretty cool. They sound really sick. But the best part about it is, we have 4 kids, and then it's us 2, so it's 6. We could never fit everybody in the same car.
Yeah.
So every time we go on a road trip, we got to take 2 cars. It's like real annoying. So this one actually fits 7. So that's why she got it. And yeah, it's dope. It's really dope. So we picked that up last night at 11, and we got it from Dallas, Georgia. So it was like over an hour drive. So then we got back, and then she went to bed, kids went to bed, and I went gaming. So.
Yeah. You've been playing a lot of the sim racing. I saw.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's fun. It's so fun.
I was going through your YouTube channel, and I try to keep up with you, and I clicked on the one where you vlogged having your first daughter.
Yeah.
and you're on the way there, and she said something about her water, and you said, I hope it doesn't mess up the leather. You had me rolling.
Yeah. So let me clear up some confusion, because some people are probably confused. Like I said, we have 4 kids, but the 3 boys are hers. They're from her, her ex-husband. So the daughter is mine. So that's really my first child. So that's why I definitely had to vlog that,
of course,
and go through those like emotions and stuff. And it was cool. It's definitely a different feeling. It definitely changed me as a person.
Yeah.
And makes me feel important.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And every day whenever I leave the house, I just focus on I gotta get home.
Because I just had my first daughter, my first kid. She's 5 months old now. So I'm just in the thick of like being a dad and the world changing around me and the world looking different.
Yeah.
And everything just being put in perspective.
Yeah, it's strange. Like nobody could explain that to me. I had to see it for myself.
And then as soon as you see that baby come out, and I don't want to look. Did you look? I saw you recording, but did you look?
I looked. It was interesting.
Because, like my wife was pushing, and she's like, this is it. Like, I can't do it anymore. And the doctor goes, you need to look and tell her like how close she is. So I'm like, all right. Because I promised myself I wasn't going to look. And then I just kind of peeked over. I was like, oh, you're there. You just got to go. Like this is the moment. You're there. There's no turning back at this point. And it's like a snapshot of a memory. Yeah. Because it happened so fast, so quick, so many emotions at one time. And all of a sudden, like, there's this baby here. And I was like, oh, shit. Yeah. Like, I got to grow up.
Yeah.
It just changed everything. But I think it's the best thing ever. And I'm so happy. It changed the way I perceive life. It changed what I see, what I think about life, what I want to do with my life. I mean, I feel like it's just changed me completely.
Yeah, definitely. And it changed the way I drive. Because like I said, I feel the importance of coming home. I mean, I'm not saying I don't drive fast ever, but I definitely am not as reckless as I used to be. I'm like, I do not want to crash tonight. Like, for example, like I used to go to Mexico all the time. Just like you meet at the gas station, get on, such and such highways. And we would go out there and play all the time. And then I would do that maybe at least once a week, just for fun. And Ever since I had Olivia, I never went. And it wasn't like on purpose. It wasn't in my head like, no, I'm not going to Mexico. I'm not going. I just realized one day, it was probably like a year went by and I was like, I haven't been to Mexico in a very long time.
Didn't even think about it.
Didn't even think about it. It wasn't important.
It's crazy how like your lifestyle just switches in one shot.
Yeah.
And it's not conscious. It's not something I'm like, I'm gonna be better. It's just I'm all of a sudden better.
Yeah. So
well, congratulations. That's
thank
awesome.
You. Congratulations to you too.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I know it's a struggle.
I mean, I'm in the part where she was sleeping and I was like, this is the easiest thing ever because she was sleeping all night. And then all of a sudden she's not. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm ground zero all over again.
Yeah, the patterns change a lot. Even now, my daughter's 2. She turned 2 in August. And even now, she still goes through the same thing. Yeah. Sometimes she'll sleep all through the night for like a week or 2. And then all of a sudden she just doesn't want to sleep anymore.
Oh, so there's no hope.
It's you still got to deal with it.
Yeah.
My advice, get her in a crib, get her used to sleeping in a crib as soon as you can. Because we did not do that, and she still sleeps with us.
We started that, I think, the 2nd or 3rd day she was home.
Good.
The first couple of days, we had like a bassinet next to our bed, and we're like, all right, she's got to sleep next to us. We got to like watch her. What if she stops breathing at night?
Yeah.
You know, like all kinds of panic.
I think about all that stuff too.
You know, I'm like peeking over, like, is she breathing? I'm like, wake up my wife. Just make sure she's okay, you know? And then after like a few days, we're like, we have this nursery. She has this crib. You know, technology is fantastic. We have this camera there. You know, like we just got to do it because we can't go down this route.
Yeah.
And it was not easy, but I'm glad we did because she likes her crib. She likes sleeping there. And it creates a separation a little bit. But, bro.
Yeah, we made the mistake of waiting too long, and it's like next to impossible. Like we have a crib. She probably slept in the crib maybe 6 nights by herself. Over the last 2 years. It's a struggle. And I think the biggest issue is like, it seems like she's claustrophobic because when all 4 of the sides are up, you put her in there, she starts screaming immediately. And so we actually took one side down, you know, that way she can go in and out. So she slept on it the first night and it was like, okay, that's all we have to do is take the side down. And now the second night she's sleeping. And I'm up watching TV, and I literally watch her wake up and climb into the bed and go right back to sleep. She's like so used to being close to us. It's like, oh man, we messed up.
and the internet scares you into thinking that you can't sleep with your kid. Because, you know, at first we're looking through it, and they're like, oh, if you sleep with your baby, then they're gonna suffocate themselves, and then they talk about the sudden baby death or whatever. Sudden infant death syndrome. And I was like, what is this? You know? And then you start going down the rabbit hole and it's just fear and fear and fear. And like, but if you want to protect yourself from this, buy this. And if you're worried about your baby, buy this and buy this. And I'm like, fuck, they're just shilling me product.
Yeah, a little bit of strategy there.
Just make the new parents so scared that they just want to buy everything. And we bought everything. We don't use 90% of the baby stuff that you have, you know?
Yeah, it's funny.
All right. So just to kind of walk us right through, in the Atlanta car community, you have like this almost cult-like following, right? People, anytime you talk about cars, people are like, oh, something black. And everyone's like, ooh, black. And people know you. When I first met you, it was through car photography. And I was getting I had a BMW i8 camo at that time.
Yes, and I remember that.
Timmy was like, ooh, you need to have black shoot your car. I was like, black? Like, who's black? And he's like, he's black. I'm like, that's his name? You know? Like, yeah. And then, you know, we met and I was like, this guy's like so legit, so good at what he does. And then over the years, I've got to know you a little bit. I followed your journey and you drive for UPS. You used to Snapchat that a lot. And then I watched you become a YouTuber and a vlogger. And then you start building drift cars and doing that on your channel. And now you're doing YouTube sim racing, which is something that you recently started. And I think that's going pretty well. And we'll touch on that. But if I had to sum up all of it in one word, I'd say you're like a grinder.
Yeah, I definitely say that. I just I have a goal, and I feel like I can't stop until I reach that goal. And especially, you mentioned I work at UPS. I do work at UPS. Been there 15 years. Um, I say maybe over the last 5 years, I have completely decided I'm not retiring from that job.
Hmm.
Like I'm ready to give it up like ASAP. So in order to do that, I have to grind.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be YouTube or anything off the market. I even started like Etsy selling like random T-shirts,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty tough. It is pretty tough because there's a lot of competition on Etsy, but I sold a couple, but it's a start. But just trying to do like home businesses, stuff that can make the money or at least close to the money I do make at work, and that way I can quit work. It is not. It's I know it's like the hard part of making that plunge, that commitment. I know a lot of people just say, you know what, just quit and just go for it, which is you know, maybe a few years earlier I should have did that, but now again with Olivia, you got to think about the
It's
future.
not easy
Yeah.
to just transition and give up your regular income stream,
Yeah,
knowing that you have a family
Yeah.
and you have your own daughter there that you're just.
yeah, it's guaranteed, so it's kind of hard to just give up something guaranteed in hopes that something else will work. Like I'm not saying I don't. I have confidence that it will, but I mean, you still have to have that thought in the back of your mind that there is a possibility that it won't work. So
So I have this picture on in my office at home, and it's a picture that you took, and it's printed on metal. It's probably something I consider my most prized possession. I absolutely love that thing, and it's just this epic picture that you took. And if I my house was to burn down, and I had to save 10 things, that picture that you took for my car back in the day, that would be on that list.
is it the red Lamborghini with the lights across it?
That's exactly
I love
it.
that picture.
That's such a
I
sick picture.
love that picture.
Yes. Yeah, from top down,
Yeah.
kind of the front view. And yeah, if I had to save 10 things in my household, that would be on that list. I just absolutely love it. So if anyone's watching or listening and you want to get the most epic picture of your car and get it printed and put it in your office, because again, I love this thing. I would highly recommend it. So then touching back into kind of your movement of all these different things that you do, if you had to sum up, who is Black? How would you describe yourself?
It's a great question. Like you said, a grinder, but somebody that's really focused and committed. I like to set my eyes on a goal, and I have tunnel vision, and I just work towards that goal every day, no matter how tired I am, how I feel physically, emotionally. It's just like I know what I need to do. Just like last night when I said I came home from an hour-long drive, also went to work yesterday. So of course I'm exhausted when we got back at like after 12 o'clock. But when I went down to play video games, I'm filming episodes. So it wasn't just for fun. I mean, it is fun. That's what I do love about it. But it was also work. So I was like, let me go. I filmed 2 videos last night, and I got to edit and put them up. But it was coming home being tired. But no, let me go do some work, and then I'll go to bed. So I didn't go to bed till like 3 o'clock last night. And I knew I had the podcast, so I set 2 alarms to make sure I didn't miss it. But yeah, it's just I'm just highly committed on what my goal is, and I guess very determined, I guess is how I would describe myself.
I think in this day and age, we get so many men that fall into their own feelings, and they feel sad or they feel depressed or they don't want to do something, and that hinders them from moving forward. And what we need more of is people just doing their shit regardless of how they feel, because we're men. We have responsibilities. We got stuff we got to do, and you can't put that aside just because you're feeling a certain way, which is kind of promoted these days to be emotional.
Yeah.
And how do you separate that? Because you work a hard job in the daytime, and then you film and you do this, and then you have to take care of your family,
Yes.
and you got to spend time with your daughter because you don't want to neglect her either, and that's like the most precious part of the day. How do you balance all of that?
It's just don't give up. That's the best way to describe it. Because Because there's plenty of times, that's where a lot of people do make the mistake. Obviously, they give up, but I mean, they give up because they make excuses. They say, I don't have time to do this. I don't know how to do this. It's only hard to do something because you don't know how to do it. I remember when I first started vlogging, and it took me a while to start vlogging because, like you said, I was on Snapchat, I was with the Instagram stories, I was vlogging every day. So when I picked up an actual camera, I already had the experience for it. So I kind of picked it up like that. But I used to make the excuses when people tell me, why don't you like actually vlog and post on YouTube? I used to make the excuses of, I don't know what camera to use. I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do any of that. So one day it's like, why do I keep making excuses? And I just went to Best Buy, bought a camera, filmed my first vlog, and I said, I want to figure out how to edit. And I downloaded Adobe Premiere, I think Rush, I think was like the cheaper version. And I kind of got my, limited version of that. And I was like, okay, I need more. So then I got Pro. And then again, you load up those programs. They're so confusing to learn, but I'm like, I got to figure it out. So I just started playing around with it, found some YouTube channels, gave you some good tutorials. And basically I just had a goal, didn't give up. And now editing is easy for me. So there's plenty of other things like the sim drifting that I do. That was hard when I first started, but I do have a little bit of, driving experience when it comes to sim drifting, but a lot of that does transfer over, but it is a completely different feel. But I mean, it's just, we could talk about that later, but it's basically just have a goal, don't give up, because it's only hard because you don't know how to do something. And once you figure it out, you realize it's not that hard. I remember my job was hard. I almost quit my job when I became a driver, like after like 2 weeks. The first week you go out with supervisor, he's like riding along and teaching you how to do stuff. And then you go out on your own. And when I went on my own, it's like I got like deer in headlights. I completely forgot everything you taught me all last week. I was so behind. He was calling me. He was like, hey, man, where you at? How much stuff you got left? And I was like, I can't do this. I remember I called my mom and said, Mom, I can't do this. I know I tried so hard to get to this driving position, because to get to driving position, it took me 6 years. I had to load in the hub for 6 years to become a driver. And when I finally got there, I was happy. It was a big promotion and something that, I knew was like for like a full career. And I called my mom. I was like, I can't do this. It's too hard. And she told me, you can do this. You got this. Just focus. Just don't give up. And that's exactly what I did. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, I can do this. So now, even doing my routes, even though they are heavy, I can still knock them out when I really focus on doing it. And
because you put up some of your loads sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Yeah. And there's shit everywhere.
It's packed like a closet. Ridiculous.
How do you even get through all of that? I mean, how many deliveries are you doing in a day?
On average, well, I used to do between 180 and 200, but they actually lowered it a little bit because they added a pickup to my route. Like they built a UPS store on my route. So now I have an extra pickup. So they had to compensate a little bit for that. So now maybe 150, 160 stops, but packages, it's like 330. And it's a lot. So it looks like a closet in the mornings, and basically you just got to pick a side, start, and just clear out whatever you clear out a little bit of space. You start to organize it, and it just gets easier throughout the day. But
is a lot of what you're picking up at the store Amazon returns now?
Yes.
Right? Yes. When I go to the UPS store, the UPS store next to my house, the whole behind the counter, the whole left of the counter, the right of the counter, it's all Amazon returns.
Yes.
And I walked in the other day, and there was this one lady there, and she had like boxes like this, and within that box was like multiple boxes. And I'm like, how much shit is this lady buying and just returning? And how can Amazon possibly make money?
Yeah, I question that all the time. It's insane because you return something on Amazon, sometimes they'll tell you don't even send it back.
Yeah.
I ever ordered a shower curtain and I didn't read the description well enough, and it wasn't long enough. So I said, I can't use this. So I went to send it back, and they said, just keep it. But they gave me my money back immediately. I'm like, what?
Yeah, how are they making money when I see all these returns? And now it's such a thing where my wife is like, I'm just going to buy on Amazon because you can return it anytime.
If I don't like it, all right, whatever.
Yeah. And she opens it, she like touches it, then puts it back in the box, and they're like, oh, keep half the shit. So we just have a whole garage of just Amazon stuff they let us keep. I don't know how they make money. I don't know if it's a sustainable business model.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane.
So everyone calls you Black.
Yes.
How'd you get that nickname?
So it started in, I want to say it started in middle school. When I was in middle school, I was a skateboarder, and it was pretty rare to see a black skateboarder at the time. So everybody in middle school used to call me Black Skater. I was the only one at the school that was a black skateboarder. So they called me Black Skater. It's on my yearbook, Black Skater, everything. When I got to high school, it was a bigger population. There was maybe like 5 or 6 black skaters. So they didn't want to just call me Black Skater. So like, man, I need another name. I was walking home with my friend Andrew, and we were trying to holler at some girls, you know what I'm saying? This is long before you, Sam. This is, I didn't even know you existed, you know what I'm saying? It's like I would have never even wasted my time trying to talk to them if I knew you were waiting for me in my life. So
quick asterisk.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. So we were talking to these girls, and they asked her for our name. So my friend went first, said, my name's Andrew. So then she looked at me, said, what's your name? And in a split second, I said, my name is Black. My friend cracked up so hard that the whole hollering at the girls thing just died off. Like they were laughing, I was laughing, and it was funny. And then the next day when we went to school, because he was the only one to hear that. The next day he went to school. We walking around the school. He's introducing, yo, you know what his name is? His name is Black. He was telling everybody that, and ever since then I just went by Black. So high school, 1999, I've been Black.
And it's almost a nickname that you wouldn't be able to do today.
Yeah.
Because things are so different now than it was then, where we understood the humor in that. Yeah. And it was funny, and it was kind of endearing in a certain way. But if you were to do that now, I don't know if you could get away with it.
Yeah, because I still, even now, sometimes I'll get some YouTube comments that are like, why do you focus so much on Black and like that? I remember one guy said I'd be more successful if I didn't focus so much on being Black.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Because the name just says it's Black. And I mean, personally, if you know me, you know I go by that nickname. If you don't personally know me, you don't know I actually go by that nickname.
Yeah.
And like, it's Black. I mean, I have a black car that's pretty much been, the main focus of my personality. And I could say the car, it's Black. That's what I'm talking about. But they instantly just, assume race and stuff like that, which, I mean, they're not wrong, but yeah, it's just funny. So when I made my gaming channel, I knew I didn't want to call it It's Black Gaming, because I was like, friends told me just call it It's Black Gaming. I was like, no, I don't. I'm gonna kind of stay away from the It's Black name this time. But I tried to come up with other names. Nothing really stuck, and then I came up with IB Drifting, which is it's double entendre. It's IB, It's Black. So, but it's also IB Drifting, which is kind of catchy. So
I like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I came up with that name. I was at work and it just popped up in my head. IB Drifting. So I texted it to myself so I wouldn't forget. Yeah. And then I just made the logo and stuff when I got home.
I like it. I think it's really catchy. I think it fits your persona and who you are. So then you have your wife, Sam, is white. That means your kids are mixed.
Yeah, they're all mixed. So
they're all mixed.
Yeah.
How do you think that's gonna be going? Have you ever thought about that? Because it's kind of weird these days. And is that something you consider? Think about, like, how are they gonna deal with that moving forward? Or is that not really a part of your world?
I try to ignore it. They have dealt with some racist stuff because they are mixed, but they at least two of them, look more black than they do white. And they've definitely dealt with some racist stuff. So it is kind of hard, and I don't know what Olivia's going to be like when she grows up. So, I mean, she already has super curly hair. So, yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Basically, have to see what happens. I think as time goes by, though, the years go by, it's going to be less and less because there are more mixed races now.
But that's what I thought when I was in high school, that it's going to get better and it's going to get better. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I feel like all this race stuff just popped out of nowhere when I thought things were great.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'm obviously not white, I'm Korean. And I grew up in a time where it was kind of weird to be Asian because there was not a lot of Asian people around. And I moved to Georgia, where they say this is where all the racism would be, right? Down the South. And I never felt it. And then the last couple of years, it's like everyone's talking about it. I'm like, wait, like I'm fine. I always felt fine. I never felt like weird about being here. But now they're like pushing it, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. It was because I grew up in California, and California was, you know, super universal. Like there was me. Our neighbors over there were Filipino. The neighbors over here were Mexican. The neighbors across the street were in a cul-de-sac were white. So everybody was mixed and everybody played with each other. There was basketball goals in the middle. And that's when I started to learn skateboarding from the white kids across the street. So I mean, it was super mixed then, but yeah, sometimes nowadays you go to certain areas and it's, you know, predominantly this, predominantly that, and it's just, you know, so it is still hard to find a mix. But I mean, I guess we'll see over time.
We do the best we can.
Yeah.
So you used to snap almost every day when Snapchat was. I don't know if Snapchat's as big as it used to be.
No, it definitely died.
But you used to snap every day from your UPS truck.
Yes.
And I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And actually, there's a guy in my office, Will. And when I was going over a list of people that I want to bring in to do a podcast, and I was making a list, he was like, "You need to get Black." I was like, "How do you know Black?" And he's like, "You told me about him like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been following him ever since. And you have to have Black." And then the next day, I'm like, "Okay, this is my list. There's people to talk to." He's like, "Did you talk to Black?" You know, just constantly, because they were so excited. And he's like, "I can't believe he's coming on Saturday. I've never met him. I really want to meet him."
That's funny.
You know, but you stopped doing it. Why?
There was an update. I think everybody knows the Snapchat update that pretty much ruined everything. So doing Snapchat, it was if you had my Snapchat, you can view it. You type in ItsBlack on Snapchat, you search me up, you can view it. And then they did that update to where I had to add you as a friend for you to view my story, which is a lot of people I would have to add, because I mean I was averaging like 3,000 to 4,000 views a day on Snapchat, like on my snaps. So it was a lot of people watching it, and it just like over time, like I'm getting people adding me all the time. It was just,
and you can't add them all back.
Yeah, I can't add them all back. So once they did that update, I noticed the views dropped like a lot, and then I got messages, "Yo, add me back, add me back, add me back." I was like, "Man, I can't do this." So that's when I went to Instagram Story, and Instagram Story is like, you know, if you have my name, you can just look me up. So I told everybody on Snapchat, "Yo, I'm going to Instagram." And then I started doing that on Instagram. So I guess I'm trying to decide which one I really liked better. I want to say I like Snapchat better, because Snapchat was more private. It was kind of like, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Instagram is kind of like, I feel like my supervisors watch my Instagram. I'm not sure. So I kind of limit what I put on there now versus what I used to put on there before.
Yeah, that's, I guess, what I was going to ask you is, did you feel the pressure from UPS? To kind of limit what you're doing?
Yeah, I think,
again, when you went to Instagram is when it slowed down.
Yeah.
And you stopped doing it as much.
Yeah.
Because when you were on Snapchat, it was
I was going crazy.
It was raw.
Everything I was putting on Snapchat was crazy. Like, not even just work, like going out Saturday nights and stuff. I was throwing whatever on there. But once I got to Instagram, is like I'm more public now. I should probably chill out a little bit. So that's exactly what I did. So
as a UPS driver, what are some pet peeves you have in delivering packages, either for customers or the delivery itself? What kind of irks you?
So you mentioned Amazon returns earlier. I don't know if you return something to Amazon, you have the option to either take it to the store or have somebody pick it up, which is a call tag. We get a little sticker, we come pick it up, put a label on there. And like you said, there's some people that just order on Amazon just to return. So there's some houses on my route that's damn near every day I'm picking stuff up. And it's okay if they leave the stuff on the porch. I'm fine. That's my preference. Just leave it on the porch with a little Post-it note, Amazon return. So I can come up there, slap the label, I'm gone. But some people, you got to knock on the door and got to hope they come outside. And then when they do come outside, oh, I didn't know you were coming today. Let me go grab it real quick. And they run back in the house. They're in the house like shuffling around for 5 minutes trying to find a box. I'm like, yo, just bring it to me. I'll find something for it. Like, so that slows me down. Some of the other ones, I don't know. I guess it's just that was definitely the biggest one. There's nothing really crazy that pops in my mind as pet peeves, but
is it that you've been doing it so long now that you've just gotten used to it?
Yeah, it
doesn't bother you as anymore.
It all kind of blends together now. But yeah, I mean, the returns is definitely one that gets on my nerves.
Amazon returns. I can see that because again, my wife just loves to return stuff to Amazon. So then, is there a rivalry between UPS, FedEx, and Amazon drivers? Because I'm sure you guys meet at certain points.
Yeah, we meet all the time. There's no real rivalry. Like, we'll say what's up to each other, but there's definitely a difference in quality. Like, I see that all the time. Like, I literally walked into a house. I actually put this on my Instagram story one time. I walked up to a house. In the driveway was an Amazon package. Close to the front door was a FedEx package. And me, I always leave packages right next to the door. So it was funny, like I literally walked by each delivery company and did that. And there's other places on my route that have elevators to apartments. And when I walk in there, FedEx and Amazon, they'll leave everything in the lobby. And me, I'll actually take the elevators up and leave them at people's doors. And people say, thank you for actually bringing it to my door. So there's definitely a difference in quality and service. But
you think that's training in general of UPS versus FedEx for Amazon, or is that you?
I think it could be both, because I do know some UPS drivers that are kind of lazy, but there's also, I think it's discipline, because if people call in a UPS, hey, he's leaving in my lobby, can he bring it to my door? Then they're going to be like, hey, why aren't you leaving this at the door? I think FedEx, because FedEx, I believe, is like their own contractors or something. I think they just buy the route and run whatever. So I think they just do it however they feel like doing it. Same thing with Amazon. I talked to another Amazon driver online, and when he was an Amazon driver, he doesn't even do the same route every day, which is, you know, so that can throw you off too, because sometimes you don't even know where you're going every day. So you may not know you need to go to the door. So I kind of cut him some slack for that, but it's, I think discipline is the reason we do a better job.
Because I didn't know that. So UPS, you work directly for UPS.
Yes.
The FedEx drivers buy their route.
Yes,
and they contract, and they probably lease the truck or something from FedEx.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Because I hear they have to pay for their own gas and everything. So,
and then Amazon, one person buys the entire distribution route of an area and then hires drivers, almost like they hire Ubers, it seems like.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So it's interesting. It's like three. I mean, literally it's three different companies, but it's three different style companies also.
And you like the UPS model better? Or have you thought about going over to something else?
I don't think I would switch, because I do like the discipline. I do like doing the same route every day. I do like having. I guess I don't know how to explain it. I guess I do like the UPS model the best, and I like being part of the best. I like being looked at in a positive light majority of the time. I know some people hate UPS and stuff, etc. I get it. I mean, sometimes packages don't show up, but for the most part, that's not on the driver. You know, because I had a package the other day that a guy was looking for, and he's like, "Hey, man, it's supposed to show up this day. It's supposed to show up this way. It's not here." And I'm like, "Hey, honestly, I don't know. I just come in, I grab the keys to the truck, and I deliver what I have." And I have to explain that to people sometimes, because they think that, I mean, I am the communicator for that situation, but they think that it's my fault. And I'm like, I have nothing to do with it. Like, if I have it, I'm delivering it. But if I don't have it, there's nothing I can really do about it.
Because people get so mad these days when their packages don't arrive.
Yeah.
Just even a few years ago, if it's supposed to be there today and it arrives tomorrow, people gave it a little bit of slack. And then Amazon came around and promised everything prime.
2 days.
2 days or 1 day. And now, if you don't have it at 10 a.m. when it said delivered by 10 a.m., people are like, end of the world.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is what's going on. They're calling Amazon. They're calling UPS. They're calling everyone complaining.
Yeah.
and no patience.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of that is because everybody has tracking numbers on their phone. They get emails and everything updates immediately. Back then, you order something, it'll show up in a few days. Eventually come home from work, there's something sitting on the front porch. Oh yeah, I forgot I ordered that. But
There was a little drama to that too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, I wonder when it's going to arrive.
Yeah,
And then it
exactly.
arrives and
Yeah.
it's like a kid at Christmas. You know?
And now you're just like checking every little information. They even have tracking for UPS trucks now, which actually scares me because like someone could be expecting something and they can track my truck on a route. And I like people have met me like in the driveway, like I saw you guys were coming. That's so scary. Like, because I've also had a bunch of late nights that I displayed on Snapchat. I was doing a route. It was shortly after, remember Snowmageddon?
Yes.
Everything shut down for like a week and a half. Yeah, we shut down too. So of course, when we came back, it was an absolute mess. I think.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it took us like 2 weeks to catch up, and every day we were out, like everybody was out to like 10 o'clock at night. So I remember I pulled into this dark neighborhood. I'm delivering, whenever I can. By the way, when it gets too dark, I don't knock on anybody's doors because I can tell that story in a little bit. But I pulled into this neighborhood, and all of a sudden this car pulls right up behind me, like super slow, and I see him walking towards the truck. I'm like, I'm about to get robbed. Like I'm like scared as hell. Then he walks up, he shows his phone. Hey, you have a package for me? I'm like, what the hell? I mean, it's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, God, that was scary. He's like, yeah, I actually do. I just haven't made a tree house yet. So I gave him the package. But there was a time, I actually explained this on the Flexcast, where I'm delivering late at night. And this road is like a long dirt road. Because you know how Georgia is, how a lot of stuff, it's country. And then you got big houses next to it. So I delivered to a like old country house. And I'm walking down the driveway, super late. I'm walking on gravel, so you hear rocks, and then you see, and then I also have my flashlight on my, my scanner, so I can see where I'm going. And I just see this guy like look at me through the window, and then he walks away, and then he comes back, and he's standing. I can see his silhouette. The lights are on in the living room. I can see his silhouette through the screen door, and he's holding a shotgun at the side of his hip.
Fuck.
And he says, "Yo, who is that?" And I'm like, oh shit. I'm holding up the package with the light. I'm like, it's UPS, I have a package for you. He's like, oh, all right. And he walks away and he comes back and meets me at the door. I'm like, this dude's about to blow my brains out. So yeah, when it gets too late, when it gets dark, I'm like a ninja delivering packages. Like, hopefully you see the tracking number. I'm like I don't want to make any noises, alarm anybody while they're eating dinner or something. So yeah, that scared the hell out of me.
Do you feel an increase in crime or safety?
Yeah. I definitely feel like crime has been going up lately. There hasn't been a whole lot of stories of us getting robbed or anything, because I think nowadays everybody knows people just order random Amazon stuff like dustpans, and there's nothing really important in a lot of these boxes, but there have been some stories. Especially arguments. Actually, at our hub, I don't know who the guy was, but he got in an argument with somebody and he got shot.
Ooh.
Yeah, he survived, but I mean, that was at our hub. So that's, think about stuff like that all the time. So it is kind of a scary job because a lot of people can look at us, like we're the Brinks truck or something. Like there's a whole bunch of packages on there that we could probably, sell it or do whatever with it. And
just catch the wrong kid on the wrong day.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He's like, I just need a payday.
Yeah. And sometimes we do have some expensive stuff on the trucks. Like, remember, this was a few years ago. I didn't deliver it, but I picked it up from a UPS store. It was a Breitling watch. And it was like, I had to sign a paper and everything. I think it was like worth 18 or 19 grand. And it's like, I would not want to have that on the truck. That is scary. So that's definitely something that, if somebody knows it's coming or something, then, So, especially iPhone day. We have a lot of, we always deliver all the iPhones. So
that must be a nervous day.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants them.
Yeah.
That's exactly the day where people are like, I can't believe it's not showing up.
Yeah.
That's when everyone's on edge. I just spent $1,000 on a phone and I want this now. And today's a delivery day and I'm not getting it.
Yeah, and it's funny. That's the day I meet the most people at the driveway. Because as soon as I come up, like, I've been waiting for this. Like, of course you were.
So we kind of touched a little bit on how we met and car photography. And I told you that I have this picture in my house, which I absolutely love. And something that I always noticed about you, that you were always prepared. You had pre-scouted all the locations. You knew exactly what shots you want to take. And then later on, you'd be like, hey, I have an idea. I want to try something different. But you'd get through kind of what you had almost storyboarded in your mind. What makes a good car picture?
Simply put, if it makes you, this is my focus. Every single time I take a picture, I try to picture it on a wall. And that's exactly what it is. When I go to set up a picture, I get the angles like, would this look good on a wall? Like, would it look good printed out? So every time I take a picture, every time I send you a picture, I picture in my mind, would he want that on the wall? And obviously put one on a wall. So I did something right. But that's the way I always look at it. I always try to focus more on the car, not as much as the background. I do pick specific parts and streets and stuff depending on the car. You know, try to like a Lamborghini, for example. I try to pick like city buildings because it's kind of like that elegant part. You know, like an elegant scene, and I kind of try to tie that together. If I'm shooting like a drift car or something, I try to find some back alley road or something, you know, that kind of shows off, you know, that. But I don't focus too much on the background. I focus more on the car, but I do want something in the background that kind of lets you know where you're at. So that is my focus when I shoot and what I think is a good picture. I think focus on what is important. Like if I'm taking a wheel shot, I try to get the logo of the wheel or, you know, maybe the brakes or something. I try to focus on that and then, you know, kind of blur out the rest of the background. So basically when you look at a picture, there's always one thing that's going to immediately draw your eye, and I try to make sure that is the focus.
So there's a lot of young car photographers out there. When you go to one of the car meets or one of these shows, everywhere.
Yeah.
What do they get wrong?
It's hard to say because now cameras have advanced so much that you can shoot automatic mode and get a good picture now. So I don't know if you noticed, I don't really shoot as much anymore.
Yeah.
And most of that is two reasons. One, because like I said, my grind is just focused on other things. I'd rather spend my time doing, you know, YouTube or other stuff than I do with photography. Because photography, I mean, it does take a while. Like, you know, we've scheduled a few shoots. Like you have to meet at a certain time and then shoot for a few hours, and then I have to go home and edit. And I think about all that time it takes to shoot. And it's like, I could have did this, and this instead. So I try to focus more on that now. But as far as technology, like I said, I do good with what I have, but it is outdated. I have a Nikon D750, and now everything is mirrorless. Everything has crazy focus, these new lenses. Like I've seen people just take random photos. I'm like, my camera cannot do that. So but as far as what I think they get wrong, it definitely, colors make a big difference. Focus points make a big difference. And I think a lot of them just, like I said, they shoot automatic mode. Automatic mode will not take a manual picture. Like it just won't do it. But the
thought and process
that goes thought and process. Yeah, there's composition. There's a lot of stuff to learn about it. There's, you know, lighting and shadows and what to make dark, what to make bright. And I think a lot of them are just like so basic where they kind of just look like cell phone photos. And that is something a lot of new people need to focus on. And I mean, you can learn a lot from YouTube. Yeah. Like I learned a lot from YouTube. I learned a lot just from playing around. When I first got my camera, I was sitting in bed and I had my knee just like, you know, I'm sitting there just taking pictures on my knee, and I'm literally just changing setting after setting just to see what each setting does until, you know, I kind of figured out how to work a camera and what all these apertures and stuff, all that stuff means. So,
because when I see a picture that you took versus a picture someone else took, and they may have, you know, really nice equipment or whatever, your picture it's just better.
Appreciate it.
You know, and I think I've told you that so many times in my life that I love a black picture. You know, it's just something about it. It's just, there's kind of an edge to it. At the same time, it's very thoughtful, and that's what I would describe it as. It's a really thoughtful picture. Whereas a lot of people just want to take the same picture, and it doesn't stand out like something maybe you do does.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
So you do stuff on YouTube. Obviously, you do vlogs, and the favorite thing that you used to do on YouTube, and I had to ask when it's coming back. When is the Wish.com series coming back? Because that was my favorite.
So Wish.com was really, really fun. The reason I stopped doing it is because I guess it wasn't growing fast enough. And it costs a lot of money because I'm ordering stuff. I know Wish stuff is cheap, but I mean, shipping isn't exactly cheap. So, I mean, you're still paying for this. And it's just, I wasn't exactly getting a return on it, and 90% of that stuff I'd never used again. Yeah, I said I know in my videos I'm like, yo, I love this thing. I'm actually going to use this again, and then I put it in the closet.
Never again.
Wait, I forgot I even had this. So it was like, I don't want to call it a waste of money because it was content, but it was just costing too much. And then even though modding cars and stuff is still costs a lot more than that, but at least when I'm out of cars, that's stuff I use. So when I'm out of car, I get new wheels, I do a turbo kit, whatever I do, I get to enjoy the car whether I'm doing YouTube or not. That's why I started doing YouTube, because I was already doing this stuff, and then it was just like, I might as well film it and get something back. So that's kind of where I'm at. So that's why I haven't really done any Wish. I did love them.
I thought they were so much fun.
Yeah, they were fun. They were hilarious. I was cracking up editing the videos. And yeah, it was a blast. So maybe I'll bring it back one day, but it'd have to be when it doesn't cost so much out of my pocket, to make sense. So
of the stuff you've bought on Wish.com, is there anything that you actually end up keeping and using?
I bought that Fresh Prince jersey. What was I forgot what it was called. The Bel Air. I bought that from, I think it was $14. It was a jersey from Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Bel Air Academy or something. I wear that all the time. I bought a fake gold chain for $2. I do wear that on occasion. There's a couple things I still use. The shoes were very uncomfortable.
The worst.
Yeah. They were the bottom soles feel like paper. So those didn't last long. I threw those away. I had a little gaming system. I played that a few times, but for the most part, I don't use a lot of it. I did buy a sticker pack, I think, and I actually sticker ball my toolbox, so that's kind of cool because I had a bunch of.
And there was I remember that there was a ton of stickers.
Yeah. So I did use those. So
I think we should bring it back. I hope it comes back one day. I hope the next one you do does 1 million views so that you just keep on doing them, because I don't know. I enjoyed them a lot. You love cars.
Yes.
I think anyone that names their cars shows that they love cars.
Yes.
You have Popcorn.
Yeah.
You have Ebony.
Popcorn, that was the license plate just because, it has burble tune. It sounds like popcorn. Her name is actually Maya.
Really?
Yeah.
Contrary to public belief.
Yeah, Maya.
Setting the record straight here.
Yeah, Maya the M3.
Ebony, which is a huge part of your channel.
Yes.
And the cars on your channel almost have like a life of their own. They're like characters.
Yeah.
And people relate to them. And you have merch with Ebony on it. And people love to rock that, right?
Yeah.
What is it about car culture that you love so much?
It's just, I actually haven't been too involved with car culture lately. It's just, but I mean, you do make a lot of friends because you get to find other people that have the same passion as you do. So some of my best friends, of course, are car related. And even if they're not even into cars as much as they used to be when we first, started hanging out, we still hang out because we've already developed the relationship. So, but as far as car culture, I mean, it's just, that is really pretty much it. Just finding the other people that have the same passion. I can't think of anything else.
There's like this huge subsection of car culture, which is the stance and the drift cars.
Yeah.
And it's a subsection.
Yeah.
It's not a main part.
Yeah.
But it's got this weird, it's so strong. And for people who don't understand it, it's really hard to explain it to them.
It
because they're
is.
like, why do people drive around with all this camber?
Yeah.
And why do you drive like you can't get up a driveway? How do you explain that to people who just don't get it?
I tried to think of that one day, and I think the best explanation is it's a challenge. It's basically stance is trying to run the biggest wheels possible while still being low. So I wasn't really into stance until I started to understand I needed stance. Like so Ebony, I've had that car since 2010. So I mean, she's been through a bunch of phases. She's been, just had performance tires, used to take it to Helen, do mountain runs with other BMWs. And then one day I got some wheels that were kind of big. I was already low going through different phases. Then I got some wheels that were big. They were 18 by 10s. And I came from 17 by 8s. So it was like huge difference. And I had to raise my car up just to put the wheels on there. And I looked at it like, this thing looks like a monster truck. I got to figure something out. So then that's when the first time I stretched tires. After I stretch the tires, I can lower it a little bit more. And it's like, if I had a little bit of camber, maybe I could tuck it under the fenders. And next thing I know, I was slammed on the ground. I think at one point I had negative 12 degrees camber in the rear. And it was ridiculous. Looking back, it's ridiculous. But it's all part of that challenge of seeing how big a wheel you can have and still be extremely slammed to the ground. So that's really all it is. I mean, now it's kind of getting a little overboard. Now people are trying a little bit too hard, I believe. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It's the challenge.
You think it's you getting older that it seems like it's getting too much, or what is? Because I always think that when I see younger generation do things that I used to do, and I'm like, oh, like they're not doing it right. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm just a boomer.
No, I actually felt like that when I was like heavy in it. There were some builds out there that were just obnoxious, and I'm like, that's too much for me. And that was when I was in it. And so I don't think I got older because I have another car now that I actually plan on stancing. It was another E36 convertible that just got wheels for it, and it's low, but it's not it's not stanced yet. So I plan on doing a stance build on that car, but I don't plan on going that crazy and overboard.
Sim racing, sim driving is booming. It's growing really fast. And it almost seems as though regular call culture is on the decline.
Yeah.
There's a huge push towards electric, so we're losing a subsection of cars there. The street takeover market has the cops are cracking down on modified cars because of that.
Yeah.
And we saw that in California, and now we're seeing that here in Georgia as well. Teenagers aren't getting their driver's license like they used to. They don't need to drive. And I always say there's a good chance that my daughter may never drive a car in her life. We may have a family Tesla in 15 or 16 or 20 years that just picks her up and drives her to where she goes, and she may never drive.
That's true.
It may be.
That's true.
I mean, if not in her high school years, definitely by the time she's 20 or 30 years old, she's not driving. Mm-hmm. As a car guy, where do you think the car scene is going?
Well, they're definitely making a strong push for electric, which, in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions, is pretty boring because, the sounds of the car is what makes the car.
And the smell.
It's just that burning fuel, the catalyst, and all that stuff. That's what the pops and flames, and that's what makes driving a car fun. I remember when I first got my M3, it was bone stock. First thing I did was exhaust.
Yep.
And immediately after that, I was like, oh, I love this car. Because when I first drove it stock, I was like, it's cool, it's fun. It didn't really change horsepower or anything. But the sound of it I was like, okay, this is a fun car to drive. So that's going to be tough in the future when they do that. I wonder if things will change because, you start to see some drawbacks of trying to go full electric now, like power grids and stuff. Not enough power. You have to deal with battery issues. Like there's definitely gonna be some cons in the future for that. But as far as losing our internal combustion chamber engines, it's gonna be tough. So, and like I said, there's so much AI in everything now. It's like you're not even be driving your own car anymore. So
Yeah.
it's weird. It's like I drove a GTR, which I mean GTR isn't, the newest car, but I remember I drove a GTR, and when the guy told me when you drive it, just let the car shift itself. It shifts faster than you pressing the pedals because it knows exactly where it needs to shift and everything. And it's like the car was fun, but it's not as fun because I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna do is just flooring it and just holding it straight, and the car is doing everything for me. So it's gonna be like that in the future too, just without sound. And it's gonna be like, I don't know if I want to do that.
I mean, there's this push for the Teslas or in the electric cars to start having their own sound, because in the beginning they were so quiet that people were just running into them.
Yeah.
Or they were just running over squirrels.
I almost got hit by one. I was in a parking lot. I was walking through the parking lot, did not hear the Tesla. And all of a sudden it was bright red. And all of a sudden I saw something red coming towards me in the middle of the parking lot. And I looked over and was like, oh, that's a car. So.
When I had my i8, when I used to leave my house, I'd go into like the electric mode, and they're completely silent, especially because it's not like it is now where they have the little whine and kind of shh sound. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was going down the street trying to leave my subdivision, and there was a squirrel crossing. And I'm thinking this squirrel's going to get out of my way. You don't want to swerve when you see a squirrel, because if you swerve, the chance of you hitting it increases.
Yeah.
You just go the route and let the squirrel
Decide.
And the car must have been too quiet. The squirrel just stood there, didn't move, and just crunch. I was like, oh no. I didn't want to do that. I thought I was doing the right thing by just slowing down and going the route, but crushed right over it. And I was like, oh man, this is not good. I had to go pick it up, like throw it into the woods. It was a mess. Disgusting. We talked a little bit about your daughter and how that changed the perspective on your life. That's kind of what we started with. And you seem like a guy who has a big group of people around you. People turn up for you. And that's kind of indicator of who you are. I watched the video where you had your birthday party.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And it's just so awesome to see. But on the other hand, I sometimes think that having a large group of friends and a strong support structure, it kind of creates this comfort zone where it makes you a little comfortable and it hinders you from pushing as hard as maybe you could if you felt like you were alone.
To me, it's the exact opposite, because since I know I have so many people watching me, then I feel like I have to keep pushing, because that was one of the things I liked about doing YouTube. I had a car in the garage that sat there doing nothing. And once I started doing YouTube, people were hyped to see the build start. I'm like, okay, well, now that people are watching, now I have to do it. So I think
there's like a responsibility to the people that are watching.
Yeah. So it actually makes me work harder, because I do motivate a lot of people. A lot of people have told me that. So, and because of that, I definitely have to focus on being strong and showing my strengths. And even when I have weaknesses, I tell my weaknesses, and that definitely motivates me even more to work harder, because I know people are watching. Because
the argument is, and I've had a lot of people here, and a lot of people say that they really focus on keeping their inner circle small, that they work with a small group of people. For me, at least, if I have a friend, I want them to give me bad news. If I show up with an idea, I want them to be like, that idea sucks.
Yeah, you don't want a bunch of yes men around you. Exactly.
But if you have a large friend group, you're inevitably giving people a lot of support, and which is good. At the same time, like maybe you need the hard truth. Yeah.
As far as my real circle, it is very, very small. So I do have those people, especially Sam. I bring a lot of stuff up to Sam before I even start on something. She'll tell me if she likes the idea or something, and sometimes she'll just, I don't want to say she doesn't care, but sometimes she's like, hey, do what you want. If you think that's going to work, then, go for it. So it's, but I do have a small circle. And as far as the masses, I don't really focus too much on what the masses' opinions are, because at the end of the day, I have to be happy. So that is really my focus. Focus on me, and then if you guys watch it, you guys watch it. So that's as far as I go with that. But yes, like you said earlier, you do want some criticism. You do want stuff like that around, because you can be out here making bad decisions. And if you have a large group of people hyping you on, then that's not good for you. Because I see that with other people on Instagram. Like, they'll post stuff on Instagram of them driving crazy, and then because everybody in the comments is like, yo, you killing it, they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to impress all those people. But then eventually you get a wreck or get arrested, and it's like, okay, well, where are your friends now?
That's exactly what I think when I see the street takeovers going on these days.
Yeah, it's a bunch of hype.
It's so much hype. It's really dangerous. And I don't know. And they're just going to ruin cars for everybody. That's what I think. Because they used to do that a lot in California. And then now they got exhaust laws. They got tint laws. You can't drop your car too far. I mean, the amount of laws against car modification that happened in California because of that street takeover was just, I mean, it's not even fun to have a car in California anymore. And we're getting to that point here where, I mean, you can get the ticket for your exhaust being loud. That didn't used to be a thing.
Yeah.
You know, you run pop, 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 pop. And that was the most fun thing about a car.
Yeah.
You know, and they're going to start taking that away. And that kind of makes me sad
Yeah.
to see that. So Harrison Neville was here the other day, and we were talking about successful content creators. And one of the topics that we talked about was that it seems as though most successful content creators are introverts. They like being alone. They like the solo grind. They like sitting there for hours by themselves editing, because you have to enjoy it.
That's exactly what I do.
Do you think you're that way?
Yes, I'm definitely introverted. Most of my editing is the middle of the night. And when I do my sim driving, I do that in the middle of the night because everybody in the house is asleep. So there's like no distractions. It's just me. I can focus on doing me. And yeah, I do. That is exactly what it is. Because I used to have my office, my computer right next to the bed. So I'd wake up, I'd edit, but then, you know, you got kids playing, and then, you know, Sam needs with this and needs that. So eventually I had to bring it down to an office. And usually when I go in there, I don't always close the door, but sometimes when I really need to focus, I'll close the door. Like, I'm working, I have to do this, and this is the only way I can do it, is if I'm introverted, if I'm by myself. So that definitely makes a big difference. And yeah, I love it. I am an introvert. I am popular on you know, Instagram and stuff, but on, you know, behind the scenes, I'm by myself majority of the time.
I always thought that was interesting because it's the opposite of what people assume.
Yes.
You know, people would think that people that have these huge outgoing personalities would do really well on the internet, but they don't, because those people need people.
Yeah.
And the ones that actually do really well on the internet like solitude, like the time alone, like the quiet.
Yeah.
You know? And all these people that are naturally extroverted in life look at all these people on the internet and like, I'm going to be like them, not realizing that they're completely different.
Completely opposite.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's this weird disconnect that you're trying to mimic someone that's not like you, but you think you are because their persona is different than their real life.
Yeah. It's like you mentioned Harrison. So the complete opposite is Haas.
Yes.
So yeah, they definitely have two completely different personalities, but yeah, it's just funny.
So you talked a little bit about that you don't want to retire as a UPS driver.
Yes.
That you don't want to, that you would like to move on in your life to something else. And possibly YouTube and content creation in some way or form would be that goal. What's your plan?
So when I started doing the YouTube vlogs for the car stuff, that was my plan. But again, like I explained earlier, it does cost a lot of money. Every time you film a video, it's usually you're installing parts. And of course, those parts cost money. So you don't, you rarely get your money back from that. You did YouTube for a while. It doesn't pay as much as everybody thinks.
Not at all.
Everybody thinks like, oh, you have 10,000, 20,000 subscribers. Oh, you must be making like 50 grand a year. No. It does not pay
I
that much.
wish.
Yeah, it does not pay that much. I know, but when it does come to YouTube, you don't make a lot in revenue. And I learned this from Harrison too. He says he makes most of his money from brand deals and sponsorships and stuff. So working on trying to get some of that stuff, more of that stuff to help out. O'Reilly's did help out. I did a commercial for O'Reilly's.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So they paid me, which, paid for a few videos.
But all that money goes back into content.
Exactly.
And that's the problem.
Yeah,
Nothing goes in your pocket.
Exactly. So here's when it comes to the sim drifting channel, this is why I really like it. And like I said, I'm doing it for fun anyways. That way, if it doesn't go anywhere, then, I'm still having fun. When it comes to sim drifting, the reason I started it is because my drift car is actually broken and I missed out on an event. I was like, I need to do something. I'm having an itch to drift and I can't drift right now. And so I started doing the sim drifting and it was fun. So I was like, I might as well just record this. And then I started recording it. I made a separate channel. And when it comes to that, the beauty of it is I don't have to keep investing money into it. So like if I come down there, yeah. Well,
because you're going to start upgrading your equipment.
Yeah. But I mean, I plan on getting, after stuff, money comes in that I can upgrade. But as far as like every single video I make, it doesn't really cost me anything. So I see that channel, especially since it picked up, it started to pick up so quick. I started the channel in November and it got monetized in December.
Which is crazy because
that
regular vlog channel took years.
Yeah, that is super fast. So once I saw that, I was like, whoa, I might have something here. So
plus you enjoy it.
Yeah, plus I enjoy it. So I mean, either way, if it does something or it doesn't, I enjoy it. And I actually learn from it because a lot of sim drifters and, sim drivers, they learn techniques and stuff that they learn on the sim and then they take it into real life and it actually makes a difference. So
do you think it'll translate?
It will. It definitely will.
Have you tried drifting real cars after, say, your 3 months of sim drafting?
I haven't yet. Have an event February that I plan on getting into.
I'm curious to see how that goes.
But
if there's a disconnect or you think you're so much better than you are, and then all of a sudden, first wall.
Yeah, but I actually know people personally that learned how to sim drift on PC and then went out there to drift in real life, and they were good.
Really?
Just fresh out of the box. Because in doing both, it's actually harder on the computer because when you're in a car, you feel G forces. You can feel the car when it's loose, and there's a lot of force feedback. The car is telling you what's going on. When you're on a sim, all you see is a screen. You just see what your car is pointing at, and that's it in a wheel. You have two feelings. That's it. So you have to master those two feelings. So when I first did it, it took me probably a good 2 weeks to even get decent at the game.
I mean, I saw you hitting a lot of walls.
Yeah, it took a while to even get decent at the game. So, and then even after I started to learn new techniques and stuff on the game that I'm gonna try, in real life. So hopefully it works and I don't hit a real wall. But I do have to remember this
it's a lot more expensive to hit a wall in real life.
Yeah, but the fact that sim drifting it won't cost me every time I need to upload content, then I could see that being more profitable and sustainable as far as a good, I want to call it a money maker because it seems like I'm money grabbing. That's not true, but something that can help me actually have a career, outside of UPS. So,
and that's something that you adamantly would like to do.
Yes.
And is content creation kind of really the focus and goal, or is it one of the ways? Or are you all in on, hey, I'm going to be a content creator?
After I started the gaming channel and started doing that math, I said I can actually, I could see the gaming channel being my main focus. I'm not going to, for anybody watching the vlogs, I'm not going to stop the vlogs, but I could see that being, again, because it can make money coming in. It doesn't cost to, go out all the time. So that's going to be, I really would like that to be, my career path.
Because we're both friends with Steve the Gamer.
Yes.
And he does very well playing GTA 5 online.
Exactly.
But he tries to play other games sometimes,
I've seen it. Yeah.
and he just has to come back to GTA. He's stuck
Yeah.
in GTA 5. No matter how much he wants to branch out and do other things, his audience just brings him back to GTA 5. And I don't, it's not something that he says, but from my perspective, it almost looks like he's stuck. Is that something you concerned, or it's like, I'll deal with that problem when I get there?
No,
Because obviously he's huge.
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to focus on now, because if you build up an audience based around one game and you try to play some other games, like you said, no, I want to see you play this. I'm subscribed to see you play this. So now when it comes to this, I'm going back and forth between 2 different games. I'm going to add like 3 and 4. So it's not necessarily going to be tied to one game. It will all be sim drifting, because I mean, I've titled it Sim I Be Drifting. And if I want to make another gaming channel, I can in the future. But if I out of the box I show that I'm playing different games and rotating, then I don't think I'm gonna be stuck playing one type of game or one game.
So playing multiple games is a conscious decision that you've made.
Yeah. And then it's kind of fun because the games are different. So you have to drive one game differently and then drive another game differently, and going back and forth, you actually kind of learn from both. So it helps. So I remember I was playing one game, it's more arcadey style, and the arcade game I could just kind of send it, just kind of play around, and the other game is like super meticulous, like really easy to spin out. So after playing that game and then going back to the game, it was like, whoa, this is kind of hard. So but you also learn different stuff. And again, I don't out of the box, I didn't want to put myself in a box, and I kind of did that with my main YouTube channel too. I am kind of in a box now because I've been working on the same type of cars mostly, but I know I can probably branch out because I do different stuff. Like I have basically a show car, I have a drift car, and I have going to be a stance car, and I still have the M3, which is just loud whatever. So they're all BMWs, but they're all different types of BMWs, if that makes sense. So I'm not exactly in a box in there. And plus I do car reviews, which I haven't been doing as much. Like I said, I have a daughter.
Give me them keys.
I know.
Where's that at?
I know.
That was also a really good series.
Yeah, I love it.
So many things going on. It's really the problem, right?
Yeah, it's hard finding the time. Like I actually have cars lined up right now that I want to drive, but it's just, weekends come and I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do
when
that.
You did give them keys with Haas's Rolls Royce and you showed up in the tuxedo, I mean, bro, that was just the best.
Yeah, I had to do something different for that car. When I was like, he's gonna let me drive this thing. I have to. I went on Amazon and ordered something that night. I was like, I got an idea for this one.
Oh, so that was the best one. I'm gonna link that one in the description here because I'm just thinking about that moment when you got out of that car and I was like, I can't believe he did this.
Yeah, and Haas was I got dressed. I showed up there in regular clothes, and I got dressed in his guest house, and he was like doing something in the yard. And as soon as I walked out, he just started cracking up because he had no idea I was going to do that.
He had no idea.
Yeah,
you just surprised him.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So you do a lot of things, and obviously you're very focused on what you want to do, what you want to achieve. What drives you?
Just that, honestly, getting out of work. Like, I really hate my job. It's sad to say, I really hate my job. And it's like every day, like, I feel like, again, it's hard to take the plunge just to quit, especially after 15 years. It's hard to just snap your fingers and say, I'm not doing this anymore. But that is the motivation to get out of there. So when I'm at work, even though my job is tough, I use that as motivation. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm mad at work right now. And because of that, when I get home, I need to get my ass up and do something. So that is, right now, it's motivating me. It's driving me. I don't want to be, what's the word, complacent. I don't want to be, be just doing this as my regular job for the rest of my life for 50 years, however long. So I already know I want to make a change. So because of that, I'm focusing on making a change every day because I go to work every day. And it got to the point where it feels like I'm wasting time at work, because I'm there, 10 to 12 hours of my day. And it's like, I could have
You
been,
do long shifts.
yeah. And I was like, I could be doing so much more stuff if I was just at home right now. So even like last week I was on vacation, and it wasn't really vacation. It was just work. Instead of being on vacation and sitting at home watching TV, no, I was still up early every day, just like I would go to work, but I worked on my other stuff, so.
Do you, thought experiment, do you wonder what it would be if you took those 12 hours per day, 5 days a week, 60 hours a week, working at UPS, and you had the opportunity to devote 60 hours a week extra to content creating?
Yeah, that's exactly my
Like,
thought
how
every week.
far could that grow? And it's such a huge risk, because what if it doesn't?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the
But what if
scary
it
part.
does?
But what if it does?
You
But
know,
what if it does?
like, how do you find that balance, and how do you make that decision? And maybe do you think one day you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it? And it's so scary, because you have family to look after.
So what I'm doing now, like I said, so it's like I work there full time, and then with the other YouTube jobs and stuff, it's like I'm working, I come home and then I work part time. So I'm trying to get my part time to, to build up enough to where I know I can take the plunge now. When the part time is like, it's making enough money where I can take a chance at leaving this. And that way, if it doesn't work, I still have something coming in. And if I have to hop back into another job or something, I can. But it's just trying to build this up part time, which is, of course, late nights and stuff. And then, but yeah, I think once I build this up to where, my goal is, and I drop that and go 100% in, then I think I'll be fine. It's just getting to that point.
What is that goal? What's that number? Is it a subscriber count? Is it a watch time? Is it kind of a monetization? Like, what is going to be the thing that says, UPS, fuck you, I'm out of here? What's going to be that line?
It's the goal I'm trying to have in my mind, to where I know I could say fuck you, UPS, is when this pays the bills and not UPS. And that way I'll still work at UPS, and then whatever I make there, I just save and back up and stack as my cushion for when I make the plunge. Then, if this starts to slow down, well, I still have something here. So I basically try to turn that into my full-time job while I still have a full-time job, if that makes sense.
It does. It seems like you have 10 jobs.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that.
So there's the idea that hard times make strong men. And obviously, through our conversation, you're someone that is willing to do hard shit, things that you don't want to do on a daily basis, in order to achieve a bigger goal. If you had to describe maybe what your biggest hardship in life would have been, something that made you who you are, what do you think that moment would be?
So my parents got divorced when they were 15, and my mom's been struggling a lot ever since. And, trying to be a single parent, and because I have a sister too, so she's trying to raise both of us. We were still living in California, and it was hard. And I could see it's hard for her, especially now that I'm an adult and have kids. So I can definitely relate to it more. And I guess just seeing how hard it is not being able to get the nicest shoes that all my friends got and stuff like that. It's like, I don't want to be in that position. I don't want to put my kids in that position. So that's part of the hardship that growing up and trying to get out of and staying out of, and just being just comfortable. Because at that point, you're just like, you're going to work. As soon as you come home from work, as soon as you get a paycheck, it's gone, because it goes immediately to bills and stuff. So it's like you can't even call out of work, no matter how tired or sick you are, because there's a bill that needs to be paid by this Thursday, or it's getting disconnected. So trying to get away from that, trying to be in a position where, I don't feel like going to work today, and I could just call out and just like, that's a wrap. I don't feel like doing it, and eventually just quit the job and then have something else going for me. So that hardship, the paycheck to paycheck, the struggle, and everything that I kind of grew up in, I guess that translates to now that I don't want to be in that position or have my family in that position.
In the beginning of the conversation, I said that you have like this cult following. I feel like I'm gonna title this video "The Legend of It's Black," something like that. To close, if you could give a final piece of advice to all the people that watch you regularly, or maybe even better, a final piece of advice to your daughter who may watch this in 10 years, if you wanted to leave her a message, because I saw in your thing where you recorded the delivery of your baby, you said something in the comments of, when you could watch this when you're older.
Yeah.
If you could leave her a piece of advice, and I think that piece of advice would resonate with other people as well, what would you like to say to them?
Simply, if you have a goal, don't give up. You can reach the goal. It like I explained earlier, it seems hard because you don't know how to do it. I'm sure when Steve the Gamer wanted the game full time, it was hard for him at one point. I'm sure it's a whole lot easier for now. Harrison Neville, again, he was doing his shoes, doing his fashion thing when he started. I'm sure it was hard at one point. Didn't give up. He kept going. He's doing all right. Haas, I know Haas has been running businesses, buying businesses, and doing everything. I'm sure it was hard for him too. But the goal is to not give up. And once you have your eyes set on something you really want to do, just keep focusing on what you really want to do. Don't think about, don't let excuses take over your mindset. Don't let distractions and everything try to take you out of your focus. Just have a focus, get to the focus. That's it. That's all I can think of.
Words to live by.
Words to live by.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you coming out today.
Don't give up, ever.
Don't give up.
Ever. Don't matter. I'm tired right now. I'm not giving up.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for coming. Well, I came, but